Hey guys, kinggath here with another patch for Sim Settlements 2. This is patch 2.0.3, which I'm calling more. And that's because we got a lot more stuff for you. We got more quests, we've got some more in-game controls, and we've got some ways for you to get some more settlers. Now, before we get into the patch notes, we got to thank our patrons. So I want to give a shout out to some of you guys who joined up recently to help us out on the project. You guys are making this awesome and carefree for those of us on the team, so we don't have to put in our own funds to take care of everything that we need to in the project. So I want to give you a huge shout out and thanks to Amanda H, Nguyen Hoang. I totally butchered your last name. I know how to say Nguyen just because of that's a common one that I've seen in that language, but no idea how to pronounce your last name. My apologies. And maybe I butchered your first name too. I guess I haven't said that name in ages. Andrew Lanfier, Scott Plummer, Alec Baldwin. Interesting. Jeremy White, Edison Raison, and Fawn. And if I didn't get to you today, I will get to you in a future video. So thank you guys all for participating in this grand experiment that is the long development cycle of a mod. It's very, very awesome to have you guys along for the ride. All right, let's get into the patch notes. So I think the one thing I said you guys are probably most excited about is more quests. So we actually do have a new side quest. This is one that got cut from the release schedule of Chapter 2 because we just ran out of time for it. And this is actually one involving our main characters. It will unlock during the HQ section of the mod. So it happens about 24 hours after you complete Water Under the Bridge. So if you haven't gotten to that quest, you'll not get this new quest yet. But if you've already done that quest before this patch, the new quest should start up for you automatically after you boot up this patch. And then the other one is not a new quest. It's just one that I think 95% of you haven't seen yet. And it is a Conquered quest. And that was because the startup conditions weren't firing correctly. And so the only way you could get access to it is if you bypassed one of Alyssa's quests indirectly by force talking to her. So now this quest will start up correctly. So a lot of you are going to find there's a new character coming to the Conquered area. And if you've already seen Randy in your save files, this is a sign that you ran into one of the bugs that triggered it too soon, and it may have never, this other character may have never shown up, but Randy's part of that quest line. So if you've been wondering what's up with Randy, you'll finally get an answer to that. And there should be a new notice up on the church board once the new quest has started, and then you'll find the trail to get to this new character. So go check that out if you've got a save already going. Now I mentioned more controls. So in particular, this is in regards to our doors that spawn in. So this has been probably one of the most controversial parts of SS2 is that we added a lot of various doors and hijacked cells during our quest lines. And so that ends up creating problems with some of the vanilla stuff and more importantly with some of the other mods. So one of the solutions we had when we shipped was a holotape setting. And a lot of people correctly pointed out that that's not a good idea because the average player won't know to go into the holotape. And so you guys I think it was during one of my live streams, someone suggested this brilliant idea, and that is to add physical controls right next to the door so people won't miss them. And that is what I've done. Next to all of our doors in the world that aren't part of the world repop system, I put a little intercom. So you can go ahead and click on that, disable our door, re-enable our door, and you can even disable the intercom itself if you're just like, I don't like that thing there. It's unimmersive. Because when you highlight over it, it'll say door controller, and so it'll be very clear to people that that's meant to just handle this specific thing. So if you are like a gun for hire user, you can get access to that instead of the Nightingale camp. Speaking of gun for hire, those of you guys who use the gun for hire patch, I did let that person know in advance that I was doing this so that they could move the door controller over to where they moved the door in the patch for the Nightingale stuff. And then this will work for any of our doors. So if you are a Thuggyverse player, you like playing those mods, you want to play Depravity, you can do this to the Fallon's door, to our GNN doors before and after HQ. So we've got those controls all over all of our doors. And then for the world repopulation system, those little lanterns that you see sitting next to the door, now those can be activated for a similar purpose. And in addition, those little lanterns will now reveal the design name. So if you're reporting a problem with one of the world repop interiors, you'll now be able to report the actual name of it, which will be super helpful. Now, unfortunately, because of the way aliasing work, which aliases do the way we use aliases is for displaying text in the game. Those will only update on new saves, but eventually those will be relevant. You'll start to see the name of the interior showing up when you activate that, and eventually we'll use that control also for things like a refresh or whatever we need to add control wise to help you guys out with that. So that'll allow you to disable those world repop doors if they are getting in the way of other content you've got from another mod you want to check out. The world repop should not be affecting any vanilla content, but they might affect mod content. So those are some in-game controls. Hopefully everybody will see those. Again, thank you to the person whoever, I wish I had written it down, whoever had suggested this idea. It's brilliant. Much better to put that stuff right in front of people's faces instead of in a holotape where they may or may not see it. So you guys should now see those available. All right, let's see. Next, let's talk more settlers. So the communications building class. This was always meant to act as a recruitment beacon, and not just a normal recruitment beacon, but a specialized one. And part of that worked, the specialized part worked, in that it changes the settler recruitment so that the max cap of that is based on the number of beds and empty residential plots you have. So the goal is that the more beds and residential plots you have available, the more likely more settlers will come in to fill those over time. And that kind of acts as a natural cap so you can control it directly just by building stuff or not building stuff. But unfortunately, the actual recruitment beacon side of that had not been working. So I've fixed that now. Your communications class buildings should now act as recruitment beacons if you refresh them. Now, in addition to that, I decided that they needed a little bit of a buff still, because while they're really powerful and cool, they don't inspire you with their resource costs to build a bunch of them. They're also used for other things already. They provide additional settler stats. So any settlers recruited while you have one of those up running will have a little bit better starting stats. And they are part of the communications network used by the beacon system. And now I've added a third extra benefit, and that is they now boost your recruitment chance by 10%, 20%, and 30%, depending on the level of the communications class. So you now have a very good reason to build one of those in all of your settlements if that's what you want to do. It is definitely not required, but now they are super, super powerful. I'd get them. They're getting pretty close to the power level of the caravan services, where a lot of you guys are going to want them in every settlement. Whether or not you actually do is totally up to you. That is something I try to do as much as possible in SS2, is give you a lot of choices and make sure that they're all viable and not necessarily required. But that one I think has just got way more attractive now. So go check out the communications class building plans if you haven't been using those. Those are on Municipal. All right, and then the last thing that I had on my list to talk about regarding the patch notes is that Workshop Framework also has a patch out today, and that actually indirectly solves a problem that a lot of Caravan Services users were reporting. So those of you guys, or I should say beacon users, so a lot of people have been reporting since launch that when they use the beacon system, whether the Mark 1 beacon or the salvage beacons from SS2, they will come back to the settlement that the Caravaneer came from, and they will find that that person is unassigned from their plot. And I think some of them figured out even that their population was actually decreased by 1, and it was hard to figure out why. So I dug into the background code that was handling that, and it was actually Workshop Framework stuff, and even this is based on vanilla code. So it turns out that caravan employees from SS2 that were out on missions, and even vanilla settlers that were caught up in the hostage system that is based on the Radiant Quest. There's some minimum and Radiant Quests where some of your settlers can get kidnapped. This can happen to those too, even in the vanilla game. They can end up in this weird state where they're technically part of the settlement, but the UI doesn't register them, and so they can start getting unassigned from items. They won't count toward the population, and I found a hacky way to fix that. So it's not great. It would require an engine level fix to deal with this, but I created a hacky level fix in Workshop Framework, and so you'll want to grab that latest update, and you will then find that going forward, when you send your Caravan Services people out on missions to collect beacons, they should remain assigned to their plot and no longer be removed from the population count after they do so. So I think that'll be a huge improvement to players who love that gameplay loop. All right, so now we're on to the fun part, which is the giveaway section. Now we're going to do giveaway a little bit different today because the last 2 giveaways have been unclaimed. So I need a new system for this. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to have you guys not only include this hashtag I'm about to tell you, but give me a way to contact you. So you don't have to release an email address, but just put you know, Nexus and then your Nexus name, or put Sim Settlements forums and your forum name, and I will go find you afterward after I've chosen you. So including in the hashtag, as well as the hashtag, tell me how to contact you. If you want to put an email address, go for it. Don't recommend putting email addresses in public spaces though. But just tell me where I can find you, and I will come to you and hook you up with that merch giveaway after I pick you guys on this list. And I'm going to actually give away 3 today. We're going to make up for those last 2. We're going to redo them. So in addition to your hashtag, remember to include contact information of some sort and include something interesting. So I'm not just reading through a bunch of hashtags and contact info. Tell me a funny story about SS2. Tell me a bug in it. Tell me a suggestion, feature request, anything you like. Just make the post a little more interesting than just the hashtag. And I'm going to pick 3 of you guys at random in the next couple of days, and I will contact you and hook you up with some Settlements merch. So that hashtag today is triple giveaway. We'll just go triple giveaway. I'm giving away 3 things, and I really want this to actually happen. And I think if this works and I can actually get in a hold of 3 of you, then I'll just do it that way from now. And I'll just always say include some contact details so that I'm not stuck with a bunch of unclaimed merch. All right, guys, the last thing I need to talk about before I end the video is that I am going out of town next week, and that means that there will be a gap in the patches. So normally I do them every 2 weeks, and part of that is the first week I use for developing the patch, fixing the bugs. Second week, we give to the testers so that they can actually tinker around with it. And so if I'm gone for a full week, I technically could still bust out a patch real quick the week after I get back, but then it won't get the full testing it deserves. So instead, we're just going to push back the patch 2.04 will be in 3 weeks instead of in 2. And then, of course, those of you guys who watch my live stream, that will not be happening either because I'm going to be on a little vacation. All right, guys, with all that said, take care and enjoy the mods.